Good afternoon, everyone. I'll give everyone a few seconds just to join on to this conference, and we'll look to start in a few minutes' time, if that's okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Retail Customer Marketing first webinar session today, starting at 12 o'clock. I'm Phil Capper from Reputation.com. The session today and the first session is about business continuity for retailers, about loyalty and online engagement. First and foremost, I'd just like to thank the Retail Bulletin for having and hosting this show today. I'm joined today by various panelists, which I'll talk about very shortly, but I'm Phil Capper, the Enterprise Sales Manager at Reputation.com, sponsors of today's event. I'll take you through a bit of an introduction as to who we are and what we do, and then beyond that, we'll start to ask any questions of the panel that we have today. Our panelists today are Bree Reed, founder of Snag Tights, and Rebecca Saunders, founder and CEO of Seacology. As I finish my introduction, I'll hand over to these guys to give a bit of introduction to themselves and what it is they do and how they've kind of established their business and become who they are today in the world of their both their Snag Tights industry and Seacology as a business. First and foremost, to talk about us as a business, I'd like to introduce you to Reputation.com. I'm going to talk today about business continuity for retailers, specifically aimed at loyalty and engagement online. So to introduce you to all of you to Reputation.com, we are a Silicon Valley business, founded back in 2006, pioneers in the space of online reputation management and customer experience combined. Currently servicing around 500,000 business locations across 70 plus different industries. And as you'll see on the map there, we're a global organization with offices all over the world, specifically in key markets like North America, EMEA and APAC. So just to give you an example there, the kind of scale of organizations we deal with, everything from small enterprises all the way through to large enterprise businesses. In that particular example there, we're managing over 3 million completes from a survey perspective for one of our customers, just to kind of give you an idea of the scale. And currently we're listening to around about 3 billion different listening posts on behalf of our customers, ensuring they've got visibility of what's being said about their brands online and how that can help them both improve their business and also increase revenues as a business as well. Just a snippet there of some of the organizations we deal with in the retail space, quite a broad brush really across lots of different areas of retail, both online and offline. But I'll take you through a little bit more about what it is we do as a business as I move through. So to talk about the storm, as we call it, the feedback economy, it's something we refer to as reputation experience management. It's a combination of both customer experience management and what we call online reputation management. We call it data in the wild. It's this huge mass of data that's available to our customers, our retailers, that it's kind of difficult to get hold of. So we help untangle all this information and make it a little bit more understandable to read, digest, and engage with customers in these particular environments. We say you don't know your destiny anymore. It's really difficult in essence, because this is all publicly available information. You've got customers there screaming out to you, whether it's a positive message or a negative message. What we do is we kind of help you see and understand, get visibility of this feedback, whether it be through review sites, through social channels, through commentary, or whatever it may be. We help you listen to those customers first and foremost, engage with them, understand what it is they're saying, but more importantly, learn from what they're saying and help you take action to operationally improve. The more you listen to customers in these environments, the more you understand where you might be doing things right, but more importantly, doing things wrong, and therefore enable you to make change to the operation. So I'd like to talk about what we call the wheel of the feedback economy. In essence, it spans many different departments. If you think about reputation as a business, reputation's responsibility isn't just one area of the business. It's from the CEO and the MDs of the organization right down to the sales assistant in the store. Responsibility for reputation spans many, many departments and is responsible for how your brand is perceived online. We talk about it in a marketing sense, of course. You're trying to acquire and attract more customers to your business, but if you've got a bad reputation, that's a difficult thing to do. What we try and do with our platform is address this across multiple departments by giving everybody visibility of what's being said out there online, but more importantly, helping you learn and understand what's being said in all of these environments so you can make these operational improvements. And that's what we call reputation experience management. It's this integrated approach to everything that's happening out there in the wild from a public facing perspective. So we talk about it as getting found, so making sure that you're appearing in all of the search engines when someone is searching for your products or services, right through to the sentiment element where people are engaging with you in these environments and making sure that you're communicating out via social channels or getting first-party feedback via surveys that you might be sending out to customers, and engaging with consumers in these reviews environments. So the more you do this, the more it helps you get found from a marketing perspective. But beyond that, then we start to apply artificial intelligence and insights to all of this customer feedback that you're getting in these environments and enabling you to make sense and untangle all of this feedback that you're getting. So we help categorize that information, we give you insights into what's happening and really help you drive those operational improvements through the business to make sure that we're closing the loop on the whole wheel of the feedback economy and helping marketing attract more customers, which ultimately drives more revenue for the business. So if we talk about marketing in the first instance, and this is all about getting found, their responsibility for you as a business is to make sure that we've got the message for your brand out there in the web. We think about things like listings through Google My Business or Facebook or Bing or Apple, all these different sources where you've got a digital shop front for your business. We help you manage and control all of that information from one central platform. So that's enabling you to create one source of truth of all of your individual locations, for example, making sure that the opening hours are consistent and accurate, and then pushing that information out into the web to make sure that you've got that same visibility and consistency everywhere in the public domain. Then we have things like pages. So pages enables us to seamlessly link to your existing website to create individual landing pages for each location that you might own as a business from a bricks and mortar perspective, and making sure that the information on those pages marries exactly to the information held in Google or Bing or wherever it may be to make sure it's consistent everywhere. Right through to things like locators and directories where people are going on your website looking for specific services or products or locations near to them. We can provide all of that information. Beyond that, we do something called Google Seller Ratings. That's enabling organizations where they're paying to be in the top of Google through their Google AdWords. But what Google Seller Ratings allows us to do is create star ratings based on previous experiences of customers. So applying those star ratings to those paid adverts, we actually see a huge increase in overall conversions from those paid adverts, usually around about 10% increase. That 10% increase actually increases further once someone clicks, because they've had and seen that visibility of previous customer experiences. They actually convert 20% higher as well. So something that's worth looking at. But it's all about the marketing element, about driving those people through your front door, whether that be a physical front door on a bricks and mortar site, right through to the website and e-commerce side of the business where you're trying to drive people, certainly in the current climate, into those digital environments to make those purchases. Again, thinking about listings, if you think about the current pandemic, lots of locations have had to close their front doors, albeit they're starting to reopen now. But being able to communicate that out to local communities very quickly and efficiently proves very difficult when you've got all these different environments such as Google, Bing, Facebook, and so on. Our tools allow you to quickly update those store location information and broadcast it out to all of those different sources available on the web for you. So if you think about Google as being your new front door, you'll recognize this being consumers yourself as the journey you take when you're looking for a product or service. The first thing you do is go to your desktop or your mobile phone and you search for a specific service or product using Google. Google then has, it knows where you are geographically. The first thing they do is look at their local algorithms. So it's all about presenting that consumer looking for that service with the most optimal businesses in your geographical area. And the way you win here is by getting in what's called the local 3-pack. It's those 3 businesses that Google feel are most relevant to that consumer at that time, based on where they are geographically, based on the business and its reputation and how they engage with consumers, and how complete the Google Knowledge Panel is. So the Google My Business Knowledge Panel, with all of the categories of business that you do, the products, the services, the opening hours, the address details, all those sorts of things need to be populated in this specific area. But when a customer finds that knowledge panel, what we're trying to do is convert them from a digital online customer searching for a product or a service to take action. So whether that be call you, message you, click for directions, which is great because we know that they're going to turn up at your front door, or even click on the website and make a transaction online. And we see time and time again, by managing this environment, you'll actually increase traffic to your front doors or websites by 10 times more than your website ever will. I speak to organizations that spend lots of money on search engine optimization for their own website, which is great from an organic listing perspective, but realistically, Google's algorithms now are all about local and local search. So it's all about driving those people to your front door. And when they do, it's about making sure that you transact with them well, you provide them a good service, you then ultimately get a satisfied customer who then go back and re-endorse you as a brand and leave more feedback in these environments. And it's a constant virtuous loop that we're trying to optimize for organizations. If I just talk about the algorithm itself, if you think about Google and what it does when it starts to think about what organizations it's going to put into that local 3-pack, there are a number of different areas that Google use when they're looking to rank you. So if you consider the business listings first and foremost, if you think about Google My Business, have you completed and completed all the variables within the Google My Business Knowledge Panel? Have you got recent images in there? Have you got the right opening hours? Have you flagged if the business is temporarily closed because of COVID-19? All these different things factor into a huge part of the algorithm that Google use. And then beyond that, it's things like citations. So does the information on Google My Business marry the same information that's on Bing, on Facebook, and so on? And this consistency drives a huge part of whether you're going to be ranked through that optimization at a local level. Then if we think about reviews, we actually know this section is growing in the overall algorithm, but this is all about not just are you getting reviews and are they positive, but are they recent? Are you engaging with customers in these environments and responding to reviews? We know and proven time and time again, the more you engage with customers in these environments, the better and more likely you are to be able to attract more customers, and that helps with the overall algorithm. Beyond that, you've got things like on-page. So on-page is all about the individual website and making sure that the opening hours and everything on there is consistent with what's being set out into the wild in these different environments and driving more traffic. And then beyond that, it's about social engagement, not just at a brand level, but at a local level. So we help organizations connect the dots with all of their locations and all of the Facebook pages, Instagram pages, Twitter pages, etc., for each individual location to make sure that you are engaging at a local level and building that local trust. So as we move around and start thinking now about the customer experience side of things, this is what we call getting chosen. It's all well and good appearing at the top of Google, but if you've got a 1-star rating, for example, it's unlikely that you're going to get chosen. So we have customer services and customer experience teams that are trying to appease and turn unhappy customers into brand advocates. So we open up all of the channels through reviews, social, and so on to make sure that you're getting full visibility of all the commentary you're getting in all of these different environments and giving you the capability to respond and engage with customers in these environments. So if you think about from a reviews perspective, you'll be getting reviews left on Google, Trustpilot, Facebook, and so on. What we do is in our platform is give you one central view of all of that and allow you then to have that two-way engagement with those customers. Same from a social perspective, it's not just about commentary and responding to customers in these environments, it's about posting local content to each of your individual locations. So ensuring that you are engaging customers and building those communities better is enabled through our social modules. And then of course there's surveys, so the traditional customer experience type surveys, the net promoter scores and so on. So ensuring that you're getting that first party feedback. And then combining surveys with reviews. We're the only company in the world that can actually take a question in a survey asking about someone's experience, and then with the customer's permission, we can push that into reviews, boosting the review volumes and ultimately helping you get found again when we talk about the get found element of the platform. So this is just an example here where we start to listen and start to look for that in-moment feedback. It's giving you that constant visual visibility in real time of everything that's happening, whether it's a review on Google or Facebook through to a comment on Twitter or Instagram. It's giving you that constant visual, holistic view of everything that's happening on there and allowing you to keep that engagement process all in one place, all in one platform. So as I move around and start to think about the operational side of the business, it's all well and good getting all of this feedback and engaging and building that trust from a customer perspective, but customers are saying things about your brands. So using artificial intelligence and natural language processing, we're able to take all of this commentary, whether it be a review or a comment on social media, and we're able to run it through our artificial intelligence engines and categorize it. So it could be issues that you've got with staff or products or whatever it may be that allows us to really slice and dice this feedback and really hone in on those areas that you can operationally improve based on understanding what it is people are saying. So again, this is where we start to listen everywhere. Having all of these listening posts enables us to take all of this information into the one platform and make sense of it all. And when we start to do that, we start to really think about the operation and how we can operationally improve. So having all of this stuff categorized really allows us to do that and get these insights and really help us to drive those operational improvements. And it's closing the loop then. Again, looking at reputation as a whole from a business perspective, it's across marketing, customer services and operations. If we're marketing and getting people to the front door but they're not choosing us, that's a problem potentially with customer services or operations. Similarly, in customer services, if we're not engaging with customers and dealing with customer complaints in the public domain, that has a detrimental effect on operations and so on and so forth. It's a constant virtuous circle that we're trying to address here using the platform. Finally, on this slide, I talk about the reputation score. So the reputation score is one measure where we boil all of this analysis that we have and insights that we have, and we break it down into things like sentiment. So, what are people saying about you as a brand? Visibility, how are you appearing in search? And then engagement, how are you engaging with customers in these environments? And this one measure, our reputation score, allows you to understand at a local level, not just a brand level, at a local level, how you're performing as a business. And we also compare that versus industry average and best in class. We have access to, this is all publicly available information, so we can access any industry sector and look at how that industry is performing as a whole, both best in class and by an average metric. And then it allows you as a business to compare yourself with those industry averages and best in class. And then we can give you insights and things on how to improve the reputation score. But time and time again, we see that the reputation score is an amazing measure to help organizations understand how they're performing, not just as a brand, but also at a local level. And we see time and time again, if the reputation score goes up, revenue goes up. Similarly, if we see reputation score go down, it's a very early indicator that revenue will go down. So everything we do is about helping organizations take control of this. And again, we are obviously sponsoring the event today, but should you require a reputation experience management assessment of your business, let us know. We're more than happy to do that. We are more than happy to assess where you are today, help you and advise you on how you can make improvements. And feel free to reach out to us at any point. Again, follow us on LinkedIn. We're constantly putting news articles and things that may well help you as a business, certainly through these unprecedented times, to help you improve your business as a whole. And we're posting lots of videos and things on YouTube. So I'll move over to the panel discussion now. If anyone's got any questions, please do ask them in the Q&A section on Zoom, and I'll be more than happy to ask them. We have got a few coming through now anyway. So I'll just stop my share and just bring in Bree and Rebecca, hopefully. So, Bree and Rebecca, are you there, and can you show your videos?
Yes, can you see my video?
Yeah, you should be able to see mine too.
Yep, we certainly can.
Great.
Excellent. So we started to get some questions through. First and foremost, but sorry, before we do that, apologies, Bree and Rebecca, would you just like to introduce yourselves and just give a bit of background on who you are and where you've come from and how your businesses has evolved to where they are today? Should we start with you, Bree?
Sure. Hi, I'm Bree. I run a business called Snag Tights. So we are 28 months old. We went from 0 to £2 million a month revenue in 18 months. So our first £2 million month was 18 months in. We really do this by putting the customer at the heart of everything we do, and our customer communications at the heart of everything we do. So we answer every single comment we get on the internet. Every single one gets answered by a real person. That's over 1,000 comments a day. And we spend a lot of time listening to what our customers want, what they want from the brand, what they want in terms of products, and how we want to kind of build the business is with them being included in all of those decisions.
Wow, that's quite impressive stuff. So 28 months, did you say, Bree?
So we've been running 28 months. 18 months in, we hit our first £2 million month. So it's
Wow.
It's been quite an insane ride.
I can imagine it has, yeah. Rebecca, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Rebecca Saunders and I'm the founder of Seacology, which is a place to discover the best independent beauty and wellbeing brands. We're a very new business. I launched Seacology in November 2019 with a physical shop in Richmond. It was very much focused around discovering new brands and giving customers a great experience whilst they were in there focused on impartial advice. It provides very flexible retail for independent brands as well. So I had 70 brands cycling through the store. And then in March, pivoted very quickly to becoming an online only business, focused on that curation, which we had in store, and then also content and online consultations. So I'm very much a big believer in customer service and actually, like Bree, listening to your customers, which we could do very easily in the store, and we built great relationships with our customers there. And now we're focusing on doing that online.
Excellent. So yes, I have got some questions coming through. Just let me move my screen around a little bit, apologies. So I've had one question come in. How many of your customers repeat purchase? And do you use any systems to help you do this? I'll aim this one at Bree, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. So about 73% of our customers repurchase. So we look at lifetime value over an 18-month period, just because we're not really old enough to look at it for much longer than that. But over that 18 months, we find 73% repurchase, and for every single person we get coming through the door, we can expect 3 orders from them in that 18-month period.
Okay, fine. And I guess lifetime value, it's not, you've not been as a business that going that long, but are you still getting customers repeat today that were there on day one?
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually had about 60% of people who purchased in our first month of trading have purchased in the last 6 months, even despite COVID and everything like that. So we think it's really important to stay on top of numbers like that and understand your you know, your behavior as a kind of cohort, because you can often see where you've done something wrong, or you've not, you know, I don't know, you've not given them the best experience by understanding those changes in cohorts as they go through the process.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I hear you loud and clear. It's a fascinating business model that you've got, and it's phenomenal growth, to be fair, in the timescale that you've done it in. There's a question here come through. What sort of 360 view do you have, 360 degree view do you have of your customers, and what have you learned about their multi-channel behavior recently? Rebecca, I'll hand this over to you. I guess moving from physical to virtual, this is quite an interesting one for you to keep track of, I guess.
Absolutely, and my intention was always to build a multi-channel business with both the physical store, or hopefully stores in future, and the online side. So it's been interesting separating those two, but something that I have noticed is that because we had built a real local community around Richmond, is that a really significant proportion of customers coming to us are from Richmond and the surrounding areas. And that's partly because we had built a customer database based on the customers who were shopping with us in store, but actually we're seeing new customers come in from this area as well, which says to me that there's a lot of power in multi-channel retail still, that actually the store itself provided a form of marketing, and whilst it wasn't real time, because when I had the store the website wasn't live, that actually now we're reaping the benefits of that store as marketing in terms of those customers remembering who we were and then coming to the website.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there when you talked about your local community. Obviously, having that physical presence in that area, you're going to have a lot of customers from that area. So I guess it's now, how do you expand from that and grow from that, I guess?
Yes, and something we were really proud of in the store was the events that we were holding. So as well as being a physical store and selling lovely products, we were really encouraging customers to come back again and again to the events that we were holding. So in just 4 months, we had 9 different events, everything from veganuary to how to launch a beauty brand. And then we also did things like yoga and meditation within the store space itself. And I think that was really key to bringing in customers who would become loyal, and who would also talk about it to their friends and build that community really from the ground up locally. And it's almost going back to some of the basics of physical retail, that actually building that local community is based on word of mouth to an extent, and giving customers a great experience, listening to them, and then showcasing what we've got to offer and hoping that they come back.
Exactly what we preach as a business. It's all about that closed loop and making sure you're operationally improving. So as a question come through for me here, I think it's that I mentioned earlier that a brand's online reputation is responsibility of 3 departments. Which one in particular do you think has the most influence on a positive brand reputation? Well, I did actually call out sort of marketing, customer experience and operations. But really, as I mentioned briefly, it's the responsibility of the whole organization, from the CEO down to the customer services agent or the sales agent in a store. It's responsibility for everyone, really. Yes, it's all about marketing and sales. We wouldn't exist as businesses if we didn't attract new customers, but the reputation is responsible for everybody, really, and it's important that the organizations realize that and actually do something about it and join up with it. It's no good having disparate systems everywhere where you're speaking to customers in different environments. It's making sure that you've got that holistic view of everything that's happening to make sure that you as a business are dealing with customers as efficiently and as appropriately as you can in these environments. So reading another question coming through here, this is for Bree, what methods of engagement do you use?
Sorry, I'm muting and unmuting because apparently I've got a little bit of feedback. I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's all right, no problem.
What different ways of engagement? There's 2 kind of forms for that. One is the kind of natural engagement you get on the internet, you know, so that's things like people who do review sites like Trustpilot, people who are randomly talking to you on Twitter or talking about you. And then you have the kind of messages which are more directed at you. And I think it's really important to make sure your primary engagement is the ones that are directed at you. And I see tons of Facebook ads, for example, Instagram ads, for example, as well, where they'll have, you know, 160 comments on them and the brand hasn't bothered to answer a single comment. And I think it starts in the places that people want to talk to you. You can't just talk to them in places that you're comfortable talking to them. So, you know, if you want them to phone up your, you know, your customer service line, or you want them to email you, or any of these things, you're missing out on a huge amount of engagement. And you can't be that structured or that top down in this day and age. You need to go out to where people actually want to engage and engage with them there. And for us, we find that's, you know, Instagram DMs, Instagram hashtags. We find that's Facebook comments, posts, messages on our ads, as well as things, you know, like people still send us email as well. Weirdly, we don't get any phone calls. Nobody really wants to call anyone anymore. So, you know, again, that's part of your, you know, your mix that you need to decide whether you want or you don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, word of mouth is what it's all about. And, you know, we think about many years gone by, you might recommend to a friend a restaurant, but now we've got this world of digital, you can recommend to someone on the other side of the world about a brand and things. So it's interesting to see that you're engaging in those environments. So are you responding to all of the reviews that you get out there at the moment and things?
Yeah, so we respond to all our reviews as well. We put priority, so we use Trustpilot mainly for reviews, but again, you can't control that. So we have reviews on lots of different review sites. We make sure that we monitor everything. And I think a big part of understanding your reputation online is just, if you're not looking and you're not engaging, you're not going to know what it is. Where, you know, if you're making sure that you read everything, that people are taking the trouble to write about you, then that makes a big difference to understanding, you know, where you are. So yeah, we engage with our reviews, and we fix where we go wrong. And we also try to be really upfront with our customers when something happens that could cause them trouble. So, you know, if we have a, very early on, we had a product recall, and we just did that all on social. You know, we know you guys are going to have trouble with this. We're going to be proactive about it, and we're going to get to you before you've even noticed that you have an issue. And I think, again, that's something that you really have to do as a business now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even going back to the slide when I talked about Google algorithm, Google are constantly looking for organizations that engage their customers in these environments, and it has such an impact. I can't stress this enough on how they optimize you as a business. So it's so important to do it. I've got a comment coming through here that it's not a question, but it's a comment for Bree that I've got to read out really. It's actually said, I was a dissatisfied first-time buyer of Snag Tights. However, the customer services team were outstanding and completely turned me around, and I'm fully on board. I'm a fully onboarded brand ambassador now and love the products. Thanks, Bree. So I thought I'd read that one out to you.
That's so nice to hear. Thank you very much. And you know, we really do try. So in customer service, we hire with one kind of thing in mind, and just that it's a lovely person, because really that's what you want to deal with, you know. So the people that answer our emails, the people that talk to you online, primarily they're just really lovely people like our customers. And I think that's the thing that we try to do more than anything, because it's your, you know, it's who you are. And I would hate anyone to go away with a bad experience from what we do. And that has to be, you know, right from me to every single person that works for Snag. And I frequently jump on and answer people as well, and answer when people have queries. And I think it's just really important to make sure that you're still doing that, so you really do understand your business.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you. I've just had a question come in from Benjamin saying, do you assist any size of business? We're built for the enterprise, Benjamin, but we absolutely deal with mid to small size businesses as well. You know, reach out to us. We're more than happy to look at your business and offer any advice or help where we can. Another question coming in here as well. How have you? This is aimed at Rebecca. How have you focused locally online to build a community?
When I had the store, we were very active on social media, and trying to focus on that front online as well, from a local perspective as well. So actually things like local Facebook groups would be places that I would share some of the events, particularly any local groups for people that were interested in health and beauty or sustainability or yoga. So really trying to get the word out that way in the first instance. And I think that's partly why then our following has this skew towards the local area. I have dabbled with a bit of Facebook and Instagram advertising. And again, from a targeting perspective, I segmented those audiences to focus on a certain radius around Richmond, because I really believe that actually it's best to really understand our customer in this area, and do a great job for her. She's generally female. And from there, then look for kind of areas that have similar characteristics from a demographic perspective in terms of how we then spread our wings across the country. Because actually, I think if you're trying to do something online, yes, it's great, you can engage with niche audiences from all over the country or all over the world. But when you have a limited budget, you may be spreading yourself quite thin from that perspective. And then I'm pretty active within the local business community as well. So I'm a local leader for Enterprise Nation, which means that I hold regular meetups, which are currently online, to really engage local business owners, small businesses, entrepreneurs, freelancers. And you know, that is not about promoting my business, but I think that has an impact, because I really want to support my local community, particularly at this time. And then the final way is probably actually that I made a very concerted effort to look for local independent brands from this area as well. And so we have probably 5 or 6 that are within a couple of miles radius of Richmond. And some of those actually came into the store and said, oh, I've got a brand, I've got a product, can I sell it with you? And a couple of people who did that actually had really wonderful products that I wanted to stock. And every time we add a brand like that, you know, I obviously encourage them to talk on their social media channels and to all of their friends and family about what we're doing. So I think that's another way that we've really supported that local element online as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's great. I think just to add to that, there's a question come through here that actually says, how can startups or smaller retailers use unstructured data to be more agile in these changing times? I think I'm happy to answer that, or maybe pass that over to Bree if you want to pass comment on your experiences in that space from an unstructured perspective.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it is about reading it, it is about going through the data, understanding it. And, I think often, the qualitative nature of data sometimes does give you definitely a better idea of where you should be looking to do kind of more in-depth deep dives into your data. So I think it really is, it's understanding who your customer is, it's listening to what they say to you, it's using tools like Hotjar to understand how they're using your site, it's using all of the stuff that you get from things like you're on Shopify, your core analytics or Google Analytics, just to, even in very small levels, understand what your customer's doing, and at the very worst case, just talk to them, and you can put a message on your site going, can I call you for feedback? Would you take a survey? Do you have 5 minutes to talk to me about it? And every interaction you can have, understanding what your customer wants and how they feel, is only going to benefit you in the future.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. A question coming that I'll take here really is the question is, how do you think COVID-19 has impacted the customer journey? I think that's a great question given where we all are as a business. It's had a massive impact. As a consumer myself, if you're looking for a product or a service, you haven't been able to go to a local store anymore. You've had to search online. But that said, your business listings, if you have got bricks and mortar, are still going to appear. So making sure that you're being informative on that in those environments, making sure that you're advising consumers that your front door is temporarily closed, or the opening hours have slightly varied, or you're doing a click and collect type service, or whatever it may be. It has meant a shift in the way we deal with the customer journey now, and it may well come back to what it was, or what the new normal might look like. But communicating in every environment that's public facing a consistent message is of paramount importance, if you ask us, and it's making sure that you've got that visibility of what your estate looks like online, what your digital presence looks like online. So making sure that it's all accurate and consistent is key from my point of view. So, have we got any more questions? Naomi's come in. I really agree that we need to be agile when and how we look to engage with customers. It is so easy from a digital perspective to respond via mobile, Instagram, Facebook, as social media is so powerful. I think the digital trends will reflect on retail trends and behaviours. Naomi. So it's not really a question, but more of a comment, and an absolutely correct comment, really, in terms of the way things are going. Have you got any comments on that one, Rebecca?
I think that's absolutely right. I would totally agree with that. And I think what we're seeing is very high engagement levels on social media. And like Brie, we try to respond to every single comment very quickly during the day and at weekends as well, because that's often when customers are using their mobiles at the moment, when previously they might have been out on a Saturday night. They're maybe now more likely to be double screening in front of the TV, scrolling through Instagram while they're watching a movie. So making sure that we're there to speak to our customers when they want to. And we've also just launched some online skincare consultations, which have been a great way of getting that feedback from customers as well. So whereas a customer would have come into store and wanted to have a conversation with somebody about their skin, they can now do that on a Zoom call with one of my team. And we've had really great feedback from that, but actually we follow up with an email after the service, and we also get a lot of feedback. We're not particularly asking for it, we just say, you know, how did you find the call? And that's been a really helpful two-way channel for us as well. So it's not so much social media, but again, it's back to that meeting customers where they want to speak to you. Those customers were already engaged in an email conversation with them, and we've spoken to them on Zoom. So actually that's a really great way of keeping that conversation live, and using that unstructured data, as we were just saying, to then help refine what the proposition looks like.
Sure, yeah. I've just had another question coming. I'll aim this at both of you. We'll probably start with Brie, but the question is, do you guys run competition giveaways on social media? And if so, do you have any recommendations of how to get the best out of running them? We'll start with Brie.
So we don't ever do any kind of discounts or promotions on our kind of core product, but what we do find really works on social is monetary incentives to create content for you. So we did an amazing kind of competition a little while ago to get people to video themselves in snags and send those videos in. And for every video that we used in an advert or used on the website, we gave the person £200. So it's a very kind of old kind of mechanic, £200 for a great video. But it works, and we got a huge amount of, you know, incredible videos. Right now we're running a kind of Snag Queens promotion. So we're looking for an ambassador for our new range of slightly sexy snags. And we're very much inspired by drag and all the great things that are happening on Drag Race. So we've got the amazing drag queen, Something Wong, who is leading it for us. And it's a 2-stage competition on Instagram and on TikTok. And so we can generate a lot of content, both Instagram content, TikTok content, that we can reuse across everything else. I think the key with a competition is to make it easy for people to enter, to make what you're asking the person to do something really fun and useful for you in the future, and to properly recompense people, because it's all about fairness. So, you know, the last thing I'd want to do is, you know, have people make us great content and us not give them something back for it. And I think it's really important in everything you do to have your kind of ethics right around it. So I think those are great ways of doing it. I think the classic, you know, here's a pot of prizes if you like or share is very done now, and I don't think people are engaged by it. I think if you give someone something interesting to do, an interesting way to spend their time, they're going to share what they've created with their friends and their family and with you, and that's a much better way to kind of spread that love and joy.
Comes back to word of mouth again, doesn't it, really? So yeah, I agree. There's a question coming for me here. I think we'll probably wrap it up after this. I'm conscious that Rebecca needs to go to another panel shortly after this as well. But you know, in your opinion, how would you say a brand can influence consumer loyalty the most? I think that's a great question. Again, it goes back to reputation being the responsibility of everybody in the business. But of course, you know, if your product's not up to scratch, the customer's not going to be happy. If the delivery cycle is not up to scratch, your customer's not going to be happy. But engaging, and I'd say it again, engage with customers in all of these environments. You know, you'll be amazed at the impact that has on overall repeat purchase, word of mouth, and ultimately driving more sales. It may sound difficult to manage, you know, hundreds of thousands of reviews potentially that come all over the different places, all over the web. Customers leave reviews, they might just leave us a 1 star, they've had a bad experience and actually no comment, or a 5 stars where they've had a great experience and no comment. Using technology, we can actually automate those responses. You don't have to feel that you have to write a response to everything, but we can automate those. And we've got 100 different ways of automating, saying thank you or sorry, you know, to reach out to us in a different method to maybe deal with that customer complaint in those particular circumstances. But it is all about the engagement. I can't stress that enough. The more you engage, the more Google, from a search engine perspective, love that, and ultimately rank you higher. And again, it just comes back to word of mouth. I think we'll wrap it up there because we have run out of questions now. You know, feel free to reach out to any of us, or certainly the Retail Bulletin post this session, and we'll pick things up from there. I think the next session that we're going through, let me just share my screen again. I think the next session starts today at, oh, there we go, at 3 o'clock. So see you in session 2, and thank you very much for your time, and thank you, Rebecca and Bree, for all of your time and questions and input today.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.